Ooh, our leader is here to take us on our journey.
My children, rejoice. The hour of transformation is close at hand. Who are you?
This is Meg, a wise one. Can she come with us?
Perhaps. Do you have a mind that seeks enlightenment and a heart that seeks purity?
Well, not really.
Okay. Are you a confused adolescent desperately seeking acceptance from an undifferentiated ego mass that demands conformity?
Wow, that sort of sounds more like me.
Great. Well, then all you need is a dark blue jogging suit. Let's see what we have in stock. What are you, about a 9?
No, a 6.
Right. Dispense the refreshments.
9 billion names of pod.
From Atlanta,
Happy 5th anniversary to Right Club.
it's the 9 Billion Names of Pod with Dan Bauman and Mike Loreen. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm nice until it's time to not be nice.
So let's talk about some stuff.
I'm exhausted from watching all these films. Let's go ahead and play part 2. Enough said about that.
Yeah.
Another one released a year after Little Big Man.
Okay.
Gene Wilder.
Oh, the Frisco Kid.
No.
Well,
Come on.
yeah, that's
Gene Wilder.
Blazing Saddles.
No. Come on.
You just gave me a year. Give me something else. Young Frankenstein.
Everybody out there, stop screaming. Pipe down. I'll say it. Willy Wonka.
Oh,
and
okay. Okay, but, give me some credit.
Okay, all right. Well, I thought Willy Wonka.
Yes.
Another pseudo-musical. Not a musical per se, but yes, it's a musical.
It's got musical.
I mean, it's got
songs.
people, it's not where there's a little bit of dialogue and everything is done in song. It's pretty much, it's not like a Sondheim
No.
And that has a rather cult following that still stands despite Tim Burton trying to bash it to fucking hell.
Man, that's a rough movie to watch, man. Like,
I mean, and the thing is, it is far closer to the book. I've read it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
yeah,
and Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator.
Okay.
And the film definitely it hewed closer to the book, not to its benefit.
Right. Weirdly to say, that movie would have been better without Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. Strange enough to say.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like they were like the bad parts of the whole thing.
But but when you start criticizing the director, it's like, well, then when you remove the director, how much bad goes out? You don't know. I'm not a fan of that. And
but the original is iconic.
Oh, absolutely fucking brilliant. I used to have a friend that could do the Willy Wonka pratfall where he, looks like he was about to fall flat on his face, did a tuck roll and bounce up.
Yep.
And man, let me tell you, doing that at the front line at Rocky Horror will get you laid. I never attempted that, even when I was in incredibly good shape, because I had a fear of breaking my neck, which is a real possibility.
Absolutely. You're basically diving onto your head if you do it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. This was before Jackass, when that kind of shit was cool.
Yeah.
It's never cool. What else you got?
Well, the aforementioned Frisco Kid. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Okay. That is another... It's a much smaller cult movie.
So small that
you don't even know.
I vaguely remember it being a Gene Wilder film.
It is,
and that's about it.
It is a Gene Wilder film. Gene Wilder plays Avram Belinsky. He is a rabbi who gets chosen to go from Poland to the New World, to go to America,
of course,
in San Francisco, America, and be the rabbi of this small town. And he's promised a wife. But when he gets on the wagon train to go to San Francisco, he is robbed of everything he owns by a gang of bandits. And it's the story of him trying to make his way, and he befriends a train robber, played by a young Harrison Ford.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another, he was, that's right. I remember seeing American Graffiti. Okay, he was young at one point.
He was young
He was young.
We're a little not spoiled, but we're a little, used to him being the old crotchety,
craggy.
Yeah, and he's young and crotchety in this film.
I have a feeling that right after Return of the Jedi wrapped, he just suddenly immediately. He just cragged right out. Is that a word? Sure it is. Why not?
the gun of the hand, John.
He cragged the hell out.
But yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful little movie, and one of my favorite, believe it or not, one of my top favorite Gene Wilder films. It's not above Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein, but it is as good, and not many people know about it. It's a very sweet movie, and it's just something you need to see. It's something you definitely.
So what you're saying, it's not part of the Cremaster cycle,
right?
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
All right.
I want to talk about the ultimate. If we haven't already done a couple of ultimates,
we have.
Probably would fit right in the same demographic as Muriel's Wedding and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Mm-hmm. Mommy Dearest.
Yes, that is a very gay icon-ish.
My God, is it ever? I just recently rewatched that like about a year or two ago, and it is so fucking over the top.
Way.
No,
it's...
I think that's the film that killed her career.
Who, Faye Dunaway?
Yeah. I mean, shortly after that, she's playing some stupid villain in Supergirl.
Right.
I mean, of course, guess who else was in that film?
In Supergirl?
Yeah.
Oh, Helen Slater. Who else?
Come on.
I
Peter O'Toole.
Oh, that's right.
So it's like, she probably looked at the cat and went, oh, if Pete's in it, couldn't be that bad. Oh, yeah, it's that bad.
Oh, it's bad.
Oh, it's
yeah.
bad.
Oh,
There's no cult following around that. It's just a bad fucking
bad.
film.
It's bad.
The only reason to watch that is to just amaze about how gorgeous Helen Slater is in it. And that's about it.
How bad superhero movies in the 80s were.
Well, I don't know. The first two Superman films are
the exceptions.
They're decent. I think that was the beginning of the big feature Superman, the superhero craze, because I don't think there was much before that.
But by the time there wasn't. And by the time Supergirl came out, it was on the downslide.
By the time that came out, I think we probably already had a Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, which was just it's
unwatchable.
A turd wrapped around a brick bat slammed into your.
Right. And just as a side note, that's one of my favorite things on Supergirl, the television show. Helen Slater plays her mother.
Oh, that's nice.
And Dean Cain plays her father. Greg Berlanti does that kind of stuff all the time.
Kind of like how Lana from the 70s films played the mother on Smallville.
Exactly. Same thing. Kind of thing. I love those little Easter egg things.
That's fan service. And we've talked about that. It's like, hey, if it makes no difference to someone who's brand new to it, then cast the person that will make the old school people go, squee!
Yeah, Berlanti he did that on Flash with John Wesley Shipp, who played the Flash in the 90s, was on it. Amanda Pays, who played a doctor... his girlfriend on that is a doctor on The Flash, and they brought in Mark Hamill, who played the Trickster, to play the Trickster.
A woman doctor? I've never heard of such a thing.
Such madness.
Oh, my gosh.
But anyway.
Probably one of the biggest sci-fi cult films.
I think I saw it on the list. I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet, yeah.
And... Back when Leslie Nielsen was a serious actor and
a dashing leading man.
Yeah, he was just like, hey, well, go into hyperspace with you.
Yeah.
And for its time, it's just a masterpiece.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's well told story. That's another one that I, when I was in high school, kind of outlined my thoughts about what not necessarily a sequel movie could be, but a companion film, in that the aliens from Forbidden Planet, that wasn't their home world.
Oh, yeah.
They visited other planets, maybe Earth, way back before humans. So maybe someone stumbles across something, and it's maybe they put on a Krell headset, and all of a sudden they're apocalypse, and then they do a really shitty film about it. Now, I've heard it's not as bad as everyone says.
Right.
We'll do a future episode on the new X-Men film, but I've heard it's horrible and it's not as bad as everyone says. So.
Yeah, a buddy of mine who I trust, he liked it. he's an uber nerd and he liked it, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it. We're gonna do that soon.
We'll do that.
We'll hit that soon.
We'll do that. But yeah, Forbidden Planet for 1956. I mean, that's getting early. I mean,
This is way early sci-fi.
I mean,
in color too.
Roddenberry and Cameron weren't even
Right.
thinking about the classic stuff.
Yeah, and one of the only earlier that I can think of off the top of my head that was also some culty is Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yep.
That's about that time.
And then they remade that into a big, huge piece of shit. A huge piece of shit.
Yeah.
But that's okay. As long as, I don't think Forbidden Planet needs to be remade. It is pretty...
It's pretty perfect.
It doesn't pass my law of remakes. It didn't... It was fully realized and done well in its first...
I don't think it could work as a remake because...
We're not as innocent now.
We're not as innocent, and just that 50s space aesthetic worked so perfectly that you couldn't... It would lose everything if you try to do it.
It would basically turn into Lost in Space, the film,
which was awful.
Which, I mean, even I can't remember how old I was when it came out, but even I was like,
you weren't that old. You're that young. I mean, it was
like in the 90s.
Yeah, it was in the 90s.
Back when Joey from Friends was on there.
Was trying to think.
Actually, the greatest thing about the Lost in Space film was that they actually got Billy Mooney in there to do a cameo.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
Right. And I mean, Gary Oldman doesn't really do bad stuff, but this was not, his shiny moment. But he at least tried for it.
The pain, pain.
Yeah.
Well, basically, all Lost in Space was Gilligan's Island on a planet.
Exactly.
Seriously, that's all it was.
Exactly.
It's like, how are all these things able to come to the island/planet and then leave?
Yeah.
But we stay.
It was Space Family Robinson instead of Swiss
Yes,
Family
exactly.
Robinson. That's exactly because they were the Robinsons.
Right, exactly. Coincidence? I think not.
Nope.
But when there's carrot monsters running around, you're like, wow. If you're already shooting that in season 2, you have run out of ideas.
Somebody's been watching Doctor Who, is what it is.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, kids. We'll get your Doctor Who going once they're back.
Yeah,
I know for a while there we were doing every other episode about Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm sure people are happy of a break.
Well, just to touch on a few others real quick. Hey, Thelma and Louise.
Now, does that count, you think, as a cult film?
Yeah, because it was successful in its time, but it has remained in the zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm.
It has remained as an aesthetic. It's something that's called back upon.
True.
Like Shakespeare. Now, bear with me here. It's something whose influence and references are known to people years and years removed from its original introduction.
Right.
Thelma and Louise, the cliff, the female.
Yep, the hand holding and the first real female.
Brad Pitt's abs.
Brad Pitt's
Apparently. I haven't watched it in a long time, but this was brought up recently. I went, oh, this is the first time we got to see Brad Pitt without a shirt on. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Was that him? Yeah.
Apparently, yeah, that was him.
Along those same lines, you could almost justify a League of Their Own in that same way, I think. You don't think so?
Well, no crying in baseball is the only thing that really has. But you're right. It has. It is transcended.
It had a longer life than you would have expected.
Exactly.
It's on cable a lot.
Right.
And it holds up. It's another one I can just it's on. I'll go. I'll watch.
Right.
The whole
Well,
thing.
there. I mean, if we're using that as a indicator, I mean, Hollywood, let's just say for shits and giggles, puts out 100 films a year, and you're lucky if 2 or 3 of them are still in people's minds as part of the culture, the zeitgeist, the whatever, 5 years later.
Yeah.
So in that sense there's no crying in baseball is something that people still say. They still use that. Same thing with the Thelma and Louise with the female
the cliff and
it's kind of like a symbolism of female empowerment and fuck the system and all that other kind of stuff. Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
Absolute bomb. I mean, like one person saw it, and then on video it became monstrous.
Yeah.
So monstrous that the cult grew and grew and grew until they did not a sequel, they did a prequel.
Yeah.
Everybody came back, and it was supposed to have taken place, I think, the day or week or something like that, before the film happened.
Right.
So everyone's like 20 years older, still doing the roles they did.
Playing
even
younger.
Yeah, which is, hey, if Anthony Hopkins can do it to play the prequel of Hannibal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you see how that goes? And they're going to do another one. Now it's after the
Oh,
film.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That I
why
hadn't
not?
heard.
Did you see the...
No, I did not see the series.
you saw the film, though.
Yes, a long time ago. I need to revisit for sure.
Let's just say we find out how John H. Benjamin became a can of mixed veg. It's explained. It's like we get to see that.
And
So-
that's an early. It's not quite the state, but it is some of those people. It's David Wayne.
No, it's not a state film.
It's not a state film, but it's David Wayne
It's
and,
basically the thing they did after the state. All the
Ben
state
Garant
people.
and
Right.
and,
We also had
Michael Ian
Amy
Black
Poehler and Jeanine Garofalo.
and
what's
Bradley
his-
Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, who
Yeah.
came back, who was so adamant about being in this. He said, "Listen, my schedule is hell. I can give you a day." And they said, "Done."
Yeah.
And they just they scheduled their shoot, so he would come in at 6 a.m. and just pound out every one of his scenes so he could be in it, and you can't tell the difference.
No.
Unlike Arrested Development, that came back and it looked a little disjointed.
A little bit. It
little
still works. I still
No,
want
it
to go
works.
through it again.
And Mitch has said that they are going to do a fifth one, but in the meantime, he has heard the critics talk about, and he has taken and re-edited and re-sculpted season 4 to be a
Really?
little, to be more like seasons 1 through 3. Mm-hmm. That's what I heard. Whether we're going to see this or not, or how they're going to release it, like just drop that in and delete the old version. Is he going to Lucas us and say you can't see the old version anymore?
He should maybe just put it alongside, like season 4 plus or whatever.
Yeah, could be.
And just as a side note, just not to go off on a tangent, but it's been revealed that the Russo brothers, who did Captain America: Civil War,
All right.
they got their start on Arrested Development. They directed or wrote some episodes, and
Mr. F. No.
and it has been revealed that in one frame of the airport fight,
Oh yes, the
the
blue stair car.
is in Civil War, only for a split second. but
Yes,
it
I
is
did not
there.
see that in the theater because I was dealing
I
with
didn't
a
either.
family that decided to have a phone conversation.
Let's never speak of that again. But yeah, and Kevin Smith was the first one who I heard talk about it. He's like, I think I saw the blue stair car in the. I really think I do, and then it's been confirmed that they snuck it
See,
in.
I live for shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing that again goes back to the thing we're talking about casting. People who don't know, it means nothing to them.
No.
But for those of us who do know, it makes our fucking day.
Well, that has always been my biggest complaint about. We're light years ahead of that at this point, but the earlier superhero movies, that they would change so much stuff, and it's like, well, we have to get a bigger audience. It's like, well,
why are you making a film at all? You think there's an audience
Right.
already there.
Why are you alienating-
So cater to the audience that you already
why are
fucking
you trying
have.
to alienate the core audience? If these are the thing that these people want to see, they will go. If you change it to make it better, it doesn't work for anybody.
Right. Well, one thing I overheard this in the background. I didn't pay too much attention to it, much like most of my life. But apparently, a lot of these films, these Marvel films and other stuff, they have a geek on set in the process.
Yes. Yeah,
To
they have
go
consultants.
no, wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, do that. And it's not like they dictate everything, but it's a soundboard for a director to go, hey, I'm going to do this, or a guy to come up, hey, you know what? Just switch the colors. They're wrong. It's red, blue, not blue, red. Do that. Oh.
Well, but that's the thing. They've been doing that for the entire history of movies with other consultants. If you're going to have a military movie, you have a consultant from the military.
Bring
If you're
in
gonna-
someone who's read all the comics,
Yeah.
who's seen all the previous films, and knows all the mistakes that have been made, and keeps you from doing it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get it
Continuity,
right.
believe me, you bring in someone to do continuity, it's a gig for them. They do a little reading like, all right, let's do this. You bring in a nerd or a geek or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
them in there. They've been living that continuity. They have studied this shit on their own time because they love it.
Right.
And because they love it, they're not going to they're not even going to whole ass it. They're going to bring in extra ass to triple ass it
Right.
and make it absolutely brilliant.
There are more people who are going to complain about Spider-Man's suit being wrong than veterans who are going to say that's not the right rifle that you use in that
Right.
situation. And the nerds are going to be way more vocal about getting stuff right.
Absolutely. So that's why I appreciate. But we've tangented off there.
Yes.
I want to talk about the Disney musical that it's kind of like the bastard cousin of Mary Poppins, the one that never gets any.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
No.
Which one?
No. Angela Lansbury.
Oh, Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Bedknobs and motherfucking broomsticks.
Yeah, not one of my favorites growing up.
Love.
Didn't grab me.
Were you afraid of the witchcraft?
No. I remember being afraid of the Banshee in Darby O'Gill and the Little People. That scared the shit out of me
good
when I was
Lord.
a kid. Yeah, that's another like deep Disney one
Yeah.
that nobody ever watches. But
Yeah, that's one of those not classics. No.
right.
I mean, and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang barely qualifies as a classic, and I don't think that's Disney.
It's not. It's a
Yeah.
First of all, it's a Roald Dahl story, I believe.
Yeah, or I thought it was Ian Fleming.
You're right. You're absolutely right. It's in Ian Fleming, and I think it was the Broccoli Company who
Oh yeah,
produced
the
the
same
films.
people that do all the Superman.
all the Bond movies.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The Bond films.
Yeah,
that's
the Broccoli- the
It's
Broccoli
what's the one that do all the Superman film? It's in every one. Oh come on.
Siegel and Schuster.
No, the name that's on all the Superman films. Oh, for the love of God.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah,
come back to it.
we'll come back
Where's
to
our
Researcher.
research person? Probably doing some stuff.
Yeah.
But no, you didn't like Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
You know what? I think it was the fact that there wasn't enough animation in it for me as a kid. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
There's
didn't-
more animation in that than in Mary Poppins.
That's
Far
true.
more.
That's true.
I mean, there's
I
a-
don't know. I don't know what it was. It just never. That was not one that grabbed me as a kid.
This is just an afternoon of disappointments for me here.
Hey.
All right. But you have seen it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
I mean, come on.
But
man.
not multiple times
right.
like you have.
I have. So believe me, what's one of the first things I did when I got to London?
What?
Went to Portobello Road, man.
Right.
There was actually 100% less dancing
Than you would expect.
than I would expect. I figured I'd turn onto Portobello Road, and all of a sudden, the lasses would be dancing. And no, not so much. Actually, when I turned onto Portobello Road, what was sitting at the entrance of Portobello Road was a big pink tank. Because over there, Tank Girl had just been released.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a...
Speaking of cult movies.
Yeah, that's kind of culty.
Okay, not to get away from Bedknobs and Bruce, we'll get back to that, but Tank Girl, it kind of holds up in a weird way.
You know what? I've only seen it one
Really?
time.
I have that.
I mean, Lori Petty's awesome and weird, and she was like creepy as hell on Gotham and all this other stuff.
But she's amazing as Tank Girl, and Naomi Watts is in it as Jet Girl.
Really?
Yes.
My God, Naomi Watts is a lot older than I thought she was.
Yeah, and Ice-T plays one of the kangaroo guys. It's a really weird, well done, because it was like an indie comic.
And it's
kind of
Aussie,
thing.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I believe so.
Maybe it's
It was,
Origin. I don't
It's
know if
Origin.
the
I
film-
think so.
yeah.
Well, I guess so with the kangaroo people.
Yeah.
And it there's a lot of cut scenes of like actual artwork from the comic they use as transitions and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really cool, weird, culty film.
Yeah. I watched it, I think, once.
It's worth another shot. It's
Okay.
not great, but like she's worth watching, and so is Naomi Watts. She's adorable as being
I've never
that
been
young.
a huge fan of Naomi Watts.
She's.
I can't think of a single film where I went, "Wow, that was a
She
great
looks
film."
nothing like you would think now. She's got
okay.
like straight jet black hair, and she's wearing glasses, and you wouldn't know unless you knew.
Yeah, okay.
At least the Naomi Watts that we know now.
Yeah.
But
back to Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
yeah, I mean Angela Lansbury can do no wrong, pretty much.
She's pretty. It was really weird. I've never watched a single episode of Murder She Wrote.
Well,
It was out of my demographic.
Yeah.
It's still, I have to age another 20 years to get
Oh,
into
at
the
least.
demographic
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Murder She Wrote. It's like
Yeah.
Diagnosis Murder with Dick
Yeah.
Van Dyke. Like, I need to be on my deathbed, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, boing, I'm in the demographic now.
Although I have watched a lot of Matlock for some weird reason, and that was fun.
I'm just a country lawyer, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
just-
know. Well, that's they've used that.
Yeah.
That's riffed through.
Yep, yep.
I'm a caveman. I don't know much, but let me, But Bedknobs and Broomsticks. You know what makes it, in my opinion, the equal to, and on a somewhat good day, maybe better than Mary Poppins,
What's
but
that?
probably not? Sherman Brothers,
Oh, of course.
who wrote the music
For all the Disney stuff.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
were certified geniuses. those
if
guys.
you want to punch someone in the face for It's a Small World,
It's the
just,
Sherman Brothers.
Just go to the one remaining one that's still alive and punch him square in the face because
the
he's
boys, as Walt called them,
The boys,
bring
exactly.
And they did not care for each other. They did not get along.
They started to okay, but then they started. I'm a huge Sherman Brothers fan, so
Yeah.
not only have I, saw Saving Mr. Banks, which have featured them
I still haven't
prominently.
watched that. I want to really badly.
It's pretty much a lie because PL Travers
Yeah.
was basically routed because she was broke into doing this. She hated it. She hated the film. She hated Walt for making her do it.
Right.
And the film's a load of bullshit.
What do you mean? Oh, Mr. Banks.
Yeah, same
Oh,
with
okay,
Mr.
yeah,
Banks.
yeah.
It's not
okay.
it's not true.
Okay.
Now some of the about her history and how that played into the character of Mary Poppins, yes, some of that was true. But as far as, charming Walt, convincing PL to do to do a film of her book because I'll do it right and I'll
Yeah.
no just
okay.
it was absolutely
Now, have you heard that they are? doing a
yes,
sequel?
they're gonna do a proper exact right sequel.
Yeah.
And
I'm
not against it.
I'm not against it because of who they've got doing it.
Right? Was it Emily
Blunt?
Blunt, that's it, Blunt.
And when I heard that they were doing a sequel, literally the first thing that popped in my head is, they should get Emily Blunt to do it, and she's doing it.
Yep.
And the other thing that is going to do it is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
He's doing the music.
He's doing the music, and he's going to be in it. So
and-
that alone, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we may have
Where
something
did this
here.
guy come from?
He did a show called In the Heights, is where his first thing was a Broadway show called In the Heights,
Yeah.
which was kind of it was a show about Washington Heights in New York, and it was a cool kind of rappy, almost salsa-y, celebration of like Puerto Rican culture and stuff like that in the thing, and it did very, very well. And then he disappeared for a while and wrote Hamilton, and has taken over the world.
Yeah.
Because Hamilton is brilliant.
I mean, it's like, would you like this Ferrari or a pair of tickets to Hamilton?
Oh,
I'll take the Hamilton tickets
Yeah.
because I can get a Ferrari anytime. I can never get tickets to
And again,
Hamilton.
it's a pitch meeting you cannot believe. It's like, okay, we're going to do a hip hop musical about Alexander Hamilton with non-white performers. You would think that'll never happen, and we've listed the soundtrack is amazing. It's amazing.
As long as he keeps it, period. I do not want Mary Poppins to rap.
No. It's going to be. From what I've read, it's going to be young Jonathan Banks. I want to say, like the youngest son is grown up now, and he's having problems with his children, and Mary Poppins shows up to that kind of.
It's Michael Banks.
Michael Banks. Okay, that's what it is, and
Jane and Michael
Right.
Banks. Bing.
it's a little tropey, but that's the only way it could work, I think.
Oh yeah, we don't want to have. I mean, because all the original main cast members are Tomlinson has passed away. I mean, Dick Van Dyke and if they have tiny little cameos, that might be fun.
Yeah, Dick Van
Maybe.
Dyke actually did a cameo. He did the Broadway version of Mary Poppins, and he just played the old banker again. And he was like, I didn't really need any makeup. He did a few performances of that. I was like, that's brilliant.
Oh my gosh,
brilliant.
that's
And we saw that here at the Fox, and that's an amazing musical as well.
Our friend Galen Crawley did a production of Mary Poppins.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
At the Aurora, and did a fabulous freaking job.
Yep,
doing
and Andy
that.
Meeks was Bert, and the guy at the Fox looked exactly like Dick Van Dyke. And it was one of the most technically amazing shows I've ever seen. The sets were.
I'm still
flying.
I'm still loving Mary Parker's lighting design for the Aurora production.
Really?
Where they had these like lights in their hand that they threw at the audience, and all of a sudden they turned it on and like it split and there's light everywhere. It was done
amazing.
so well.
That's
so
cool.
well.
That's cool.
All right. Bed Knobs and Broomstick is not as great as Mary Poppins.
Well, if you like it that much,
I like it.
is.
No, I do like it. It has a lot of sass in it, and I'm a big fan of it. And of course, at the end, in most Disney films, you fight Nazis.
Yeah, of course.
With animated armor.
Yeah.
and skeletons from the dead.
Yep.
Because that's not going to offend anybody.
No.
of
Well,
course.
not then. No.
No, well, yeah. Some of the things that were done back then, you put that out now, and people would just be like, "How dare you!"
Yeah. Well, going back to Bugsy Malone, Courtney, like they couldn't do it at the school because it had
Too sexual.
No guns.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
yeah.
Even the splat gun, just that was a no.
No go.
Well, you know what?
I get it.
I do get that because the time that it was done back then and the time is now, there are dumb motherfucking parents that leave loaded guns around and the kids
Yeah.
take them to show and tell
Yeah.
and kill each other
Yeah.
or themselves
Yeah.
or whatever.
But I know what you mean about like how the times change and like
Yeah,
fighting Nazis is always good, but
That's why if they do another Indiana Jones, they got to find a way to have like go to Brazil. I mean, didn't we have a bunch of
That's true.
Nazis in South America? Let's get Indy back there and beating the fuck out of Nazis.
Yeah.
You don't have Hitler to kick around, but we had Himmler down there and Eichmann or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's fuck their shit up.
yeah. Did you ever see? Speaking of
What, the Boys from Brazil?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
yes.
Weird culty movies.
Yeah, the ones where they're like breeding new Hitlers.
Yes,
from the
exactly.
DNA. I'm like,
that's a weird ass movie.
Yeah.
It's not really culty. It's just odd.
yeah, that's just stupid. Not a big fan of resurrecting Hitler from the dead.
Right.
Although someone just told me about I don't know if it's a TV show or a film. I have to look it up. It's called Look Who's Back, and the premise is Hitler wakes up in modern times in his bunker and gets out and starts walking the streets of Berlin, and everyone thinks it's a comedy job, and he gets his own talk show, but it's a German production, and they've got real strict Nazi stuff over there.
Oh
so,
yeah.
but it pokes fun at Hitler constantly because all his rah, 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 people are like, "You're so stupid." It's a commentary, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Any chance you have to demean, insult, or basically piss in the skull of Adolf Hitler, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
So, but
Just ask Mel Brooks. I mean,
yeah, yes, yeah. I was thinking about putting To Be or Not to Be on the list, but it's not really a cult. It's
No,
I mean,
it's
Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
That's culty, but it's one of my favorite. I actually saw that one in the theater as a little kid, and I thought it was great. That's where I first fell in love with Anne Bancroft.
yeah.
I mean, Anne Bancroft. It was Angela Lansbury in Gaslight back in the 40s.
She was
That was an attractive girl. You said that you have never seen Midnight Offerings.
No, I don't even know what that is.
Midnight Offerings is a TV movie,
Okay.
and I'll give you some stars in it. You can just kind of see where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Melissa Sue Anderson,
Okay. So I already know time period.
Marion Ross,
Okay. Yeah.
Gordon motherfucking Jump,
Mr.
Carlson, the big
man.
guy.
Yeah, the big guy.
and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was the cute redhead in The Waltons.
Okay.
So this was done in 1981, and Melissa Sue Anderson plays a teenage witch, but a bad one.
Right.
Like she kills a teacher who was going to give her jock boyfriend a bad grade and have him kicked off the team. And the new girl in town, named Robin Prentice, played by the Walton girl.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I have no idea what her name is.
I mean, it's not Wiley Ames, but it's the guy that looks like him. He plays. It's one of the Cassidy kids.
Sean Cassidy or David Cassidy.
I think one of the third, lower tiered Cassidys. I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, it takes place in Southern California. So you got the beach, you got the customized vans. I mean, it was like I recognized my
70s,
home. I just recognized my, You don't find many palm trees around here in Atlanta.
No.
But they were all over in Midnight Offerings. And basically, the new girl in school, she had to leave her old school because weird things kept happening. And she finally finds out from Marion Ross, Mrs. Cunningham, that she's the seventh daughter of a seventh daughter. So she has powers. So she's the good witch, and Melissa Sue Anderson is the bad witch. And also appearing from another 70s staple, Betty Buckley.
Oh, from Eight is Enough.
Eight is Enough shows up, and from Meow Meow Meow
from
Memory.
Cats. Yeah.
Because that's how you mention her. Meow
Right,
Meow
of
Meow
course.
Memory. Of course. She plays the bitch witch, the mother of the bitch witch.
Of course.
And it's about how to make things fly around, and I'm going to kill you, and it's like that. And then there's a winner at the end, which you can guess who it's probably going to be.
Yeah.
And it's just so catty and cheesy, and I only put it on there because I don't think there's really a cult following, but it's a cult of me.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
a huge fan of it. I actually spent like $40 to get a bootleg DVD because it's never been released officially.
Right.
But someone actually
had a
taped it in
recording of
really
it.
good quality when it was broadcast somewhere, edited out the commercials, and made it a complete film. And it's just, it was just, it's just so awful. Now, we talked a tiny little bit about shock treatment. Have you seen shock treatment?
Of course, yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
As we all know, I'm a huge Rocky Horror fan, and when I was in the deep, throes of all that, it was, to hear that there was a pseudo sequel with Richard O'Brien and with Little Nell and
Patricia Quinn
and characters Brad and Janet Majors, and it was like, oh yeah, we gotta eat it up, and it's just a very odd, strange movie because it's not Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon.
No, they did not return as Brad and Janet. Now you do know the Young Ones connection to shock treatment, don't you?
It's Abe Edmondson, isn't it?
No. Rick.
Oh, is he?
He plays the
it's been so
orderly
long.
that dances Look What I Did to My Id. It's I think Brad and Janet, Little Nell as the one orderly, and
Right.
Rick as the other.
Okay.
And I think he's the one that has the line, with looks like this, I'm really made for dancing.
Yeah.
And it's a Richard O'Brien musical.
Yeah.
And the music is damn tight.
Yeah, Shock Treatment. Ooh, a little shock.
Yeah.
Is a great song.
It's a good, there's not one crappy song in the
Right.
whole bunch. And it's...
it's no Time Warp or anything,
No,
but it's
no.
still good.
No.
It's still really good for what it is.
It basically falls along the lines of Brad and Janet are having marital problems, and they're on this TV network where the studio audience lives in the studio. Like, they sleep in their seats. And I think this is rather prescient about reality TV.
Yeah, a little bit,
and
yeah.
It's just it just smacks a little bit of like, oh, I see. Like, the whole world is just this TV studio. The audience lives in their seats. They sleep in their seats. They eat in their seats. Hopefully they don't do everything in their seats. And there's different shows and news programs. The Criminologist is back. Charles Gray is back. Betty Hapschatt from the first film.
That's right, Ralph and Betty Hapschatt.
Ralph and Betty are back.
Yeah.
They're having marital problems. They're getting a divorce.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a very long time.
And from what I understand, the role of Bert Schnick was offered to Tim Curry. And he turned it down, probably for the best.
Yeah.
But it's a fun little film, and I know that some Rocky Horror casts have taken a stab at trying to do a shadow cast of this. It's not really possible to do it properly.
No.
It's not. Rocky was just paced.
Well, it was
perfectly.
an adaptation of that show, so
right.
it was
but
originally...
but just in the way it was, the way the dialogue was delivered with the pauses.
Yeah.
Shock Treatment didn't have that, because by the time they made Shock Treatment in 1981, the full Rocky Horror effect was going on.
Yeah.
So, Richard O'Brien knew damn well what
Cashing in, yeah.
And not necessarily to cash in, but he knew that people might try to Rockyify this film, and apparently he didn't want that. So he didn't give those long pauses for people to yell lines or throw stuff in. He just made the film he wanted to make.
Right.
So I highly recommend it. It's out on DVD. The soundtrack's out. I remember my mom got me the soundtrack when I watched it. I rented it on VHS when I was a kid, and I called my mom at work and said, "Mom, I just talked to Tower Records. They have one copy only on vinyl. It's behind the counter. Please go get it for me." Because, I couldn't drive. I was like, 11, 10?
Right.
I can't remember how old I was. And she brought it home, and I was like, and I still have that album to this day.
I had someone got me, I think for my birthday, I want to say it's the 20th anniversary box set, and it's cassettes, and it's...
Oh, yeah, the one that Rhino did.
Yeah, and so it's the soundtrack, the Roxy Cast soundtrack,
the songs from the vaults.
Songs from the Vaults, which has Shock Treatment.
Has some Shock Treatment on it, but also has some of the Little Nell singles.
Do the Swim and all that stuff, so that's where I heard it, because at that time, Shock Treatment was nowhere available.
Right.
It was like the rare Rocky Horror rarities or whatever.
Do you remember the tagline for Shock Treatment?
Oh, I do. I can't think of it. I see the poster with O'Brien's face and the whole thing. No, I don't remember what it was.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
So
now, I've always heard of the legend of the Return of the Old Queen.
Yes.
Is that a thing?
It is a thing. And I've read the script.
I thought you had.
Yeah. And it is an absolute abomination. It is so bad. Even if they could get back every one of the original members as they were in the 70s somehow to do it, I'd say don't do it. Mm-hmm. This script is absolute shite. But then again, who can say? From script to screen, a lot of things happen. That's where the magic happens.
Yep.
So, but a lot would have to happen to make this thing good, because it's just bad.
Now, have you seen the pictures of the trailer for the Fox remake that's coming up?
Yeah, I have. I'm fine.
Totally fine.
I'm not having problems with it, because it does nothing. If anything, it's a very expensive advertisement for the original.
For the real one, yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
I think
I will watch it. I will have a party around it. I don't care.
We should do that. I think the casting of
Laverne Cox, amazing.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Although the little bit I did see is like, you are veering really into Curry territory with the, that
right.
You're being, but we'll see.
They also got Tim Curry.
Yes,
he's playing the criminologist.
Tim is playing the criminologist, which I hope comes off okay, because he had a stroke.
I've heard him speak since then, and he sounds fine. He sounds okay. I heard. I saw a very early interview where he was still a little, he had a little slurry, but I heard him after that, and he's okay. He's not. He doesn't. It's not like a Dick Clark thing.
And this is saying something, because aside from, I think, 1 or 2 interviews after the film came out, he has not done any press, any of the conventions. No. He doesn't like talking about it in interviews. He's very rare.
Like he's shown up.
He will acknowledge it exists. Yeah. But he's not going to sit down for a one-on-one. I remember when he came into San Diego in like 1980 or whatever to do Me and My Girl.
Okay.
And they got him on TV. And sure enough, 2 minutes into it, they started talking Rocky Horror. And I remember the look on his face was like, okay,
all right.
Yep, let's get through this real quick. I'm not doing that show anymore. Haven't done it in over a decade. I'm kind of done with it.
Yep.
It's, which, to be an actor, to be very fondly and well remembered for one role, is a dream of a lot of actors.
Without a doubt.
But once you get there, you kind of like, all right, I got that. I want to do other stuff. I have more to give. Mm. And of course, he did give in a little film that has a huge cult following, Clue.
Yes.
I mean, that is the definition of a cult film, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I know our friend Chris Hines loves that film.
Yeah, some people. And it was a really interesting experiment based on a board game And there were, what, 3 endings?
I think there were 3 endings
that were randomly sent out to different theaters so you could see it.
Basically, in the advertisement or in the marquee or somewhere, it said ending A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3.
Did they really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you knew what ending you were getting.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they just randomly...
No, because what they wanted people to do who
see
liked the film was like, oh, I'm going to go to that theater and see
it
B, and then find the C theater and go to that. It didn't quite work out that way. It was a modest success, but it's gotten. I mean, Madeline Kahn.
Yeah.
Oh my, flames. I mean, everyone knows what that is. On this side of my face, burning. What Leslie Ann Warren, Martin Mull, Christopher Lloyd.
Yep.
Who was the other? What's his name? Body? No, Mr. Body.
Mr. Body is
he had a weird name. Can't remember that off the top of my head. But anyway, it had, and of course, one of my favorite cameos in all of television or movie history. Mm-hmm. Who had the great cameo in Clue?
I don't remember.
I am your singing telegram. Jane Wheedlin from the Go-Go's.
Oh, that's right.
Just open the door. I'm your singing telegram. Bam! And then she's dead. And that's it.
Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKean.
Oh, that's right, McKean.
Lee Ving was Mr. Body.
Lee Ving, that's it. Lee Ving. He has like a cool name, like Lee Ving.
Yeah, I think he was a punk guy. That's who he was. He was...
Was he in like...
hardcore punk band Fear. That's who he was.
Fear, that's it. He was in Fear.
Yep. Jane Wheedlin.
Well, that's weird because guess who's fronting the Dead Kennedys right now?
Who?
The guy from Courtship of Eddie's Father. I'm not shitting. It's Eddie from the Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Hilarious.
If he's still with a band, I mean, these days all the old punk bands are getting back together as this, that, and whatever. And there's lawsuits, and there's the Circle Jerks or the Jerks or whatever.
Yeah.
And just to kind of round out the bottom of the ticket there, I would say Princess Bride.
Yeah, that wasn't a huge slam dunk.
I mean, it did okay, but basically right now, at least in my life and the life of a good many people, if you're hanging out with a girl and you show her the Princess Bride, you want to date her. That's like we're going to watch this. If the first film you two watch together is Princess Bride,
right?
Whoever instigated it wants to date that person.
Yeah, it's just that's one of those that just became a classic.
Yeah, exactly.
On video. It wasn't. I don't think it was a huge box office.
I'm just a young pup. I can't remember.
Right.
I was out storming the castle. I don't know.
Exactly.
What do
Talk
I know?
about lines upon lines that have made their way into the zeitgeist.
Yeah, exactly. The things that are just storming the castle and mostly dead and inconceivable.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
I actually had a back in the early days of AOL and chat. Remember I told you I met that Redding. One girl actually. So do you have an extra
6 fingers on your right hand?
An extra digit? And at first I just was like, is she making some kind of a dick comment? I'm like, oh, she's doing Princess Bride.
Yeah.
And then I responded with something Princess Bride, and she said, all right, you're a good guy. We'll be okay. That's a good one, and that's one that I'm very glad. I don't know, is there another Princess Bride book?
Yeah, it was based on a book.
No, another one. I mean, a sequel.
No, nothing.
Okay, good, good. I'm glad there wasn't a sequel done. It's let that stand as is. It's good.
I don't think there's a sequel to the book. I think.
There's not a sequel to the film either.
Right, but I mean, I don't think there was more than one Princess.
Right,
Bride
that's
book.
what I was getting.
William Goldman, William Golding.
Yeah, William
Golding, I think.
Yeah, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, unlike the situation with Wizard of Oz, there's another series of books that.
Oh yeah.
If they had continued on.
That's only like a tiny bit of
the
one
Wizard
of the
Oz
books.
is like hardly anything. That the world that Frank L. Baum created in Wizard of Oz in the series of books is amazing, and they did Return to Oz, and I think they did another recent Oz related thing. But it just doesn't have the magic of the books, and doesn't recapture the magic of the original 1939
The
film.
closest is Wicked, the play.
Well, that's more like a riff on it.
No, it's not really a riff because it takes place.
It's a riff because Frank L. Baum did not write it.
That's true. That's true.
So it's
and-
kind of like the woman who wrote "The Wind Done Gone," which tells a story of Gone with the Wind from the slave's perspective.
Yeah.
It's not a sequel; it's a riff.
Yeah.
It's also
okay.
a lawsuit that eventually gets settled.
I'll give you that, but
Yeah.
I've read the novel that Gregory I can't remember his name wrote that and it's unreadable. I mean, it's not unreadable. There's like 200 pages of her traveling to Fiero's castle, and nothing happens, and it's like this whole political thing, and
So basically, it was Tolkien-esque.
kind of yeah.
Like-
it was way more political and weird, and they distilled it down. That's why the musical works so good, because they distilled it down to like the movie. Like it's way more like the movie.
When's the Wicked movie going to happen?
They say it's in pre-production. They've been teasing it for years. I think they were like, it's still making huge Broadway numbers, so
Yeah.
let's not fuck with it. And it's getting to be time,
Yeah, I mean they did a movie version of Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
That was.
But that was on the downslope, I think.
Well,
So.
yeah. Anyway, those jukebox musicals. Says the guy that's trying to put one together.
Yeah.
It all comes with the material.
Yeah.
Hey, Breakfast Club, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll give you that.
that's
A lot of the John Hughes could kind of fill,
yeah,
Ferris
that's
Bueller,
true. That's true. There's something about the John Hughes the films that have remained, and this is exactly what I was talking about. 30 years on from Breakfast Club, there are people that are still quoting it, knowing it.
No, Dad, what about you? Fuck you. No, Dad, what about you? I mean, there's iconic lines.
No, one of my favorites is from Pretty in Pink. You know what an older woman does for me? Changes your diapers. I'm like, oh, Annie Potts, could you ever be not hot?
Okay, one last little tangent on Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
We went and saw it
on the anniversary.
on the anniversary.
Did
We saw it
you?
in the theaters, yeah.
Oh, Blaine.
Which was great. It was great to
Jeffy
see.
or-
But,
Yeah.
Ducky.
No. What's his name's character? The evil guy.
Oh,
Steph. It's not Jeff. It's Steph.
Steph, right.
Steph.
I noticed something.
Don't you dare step to me.
Sorry,
I don't know my
sorry,
ducky,
sorry.
motherfucker.
I noticed something I never noticed before.
Oh, really?
Okay.
All right.
That I was like, I wonder. Annie Potts.
Yeah.
She played. I forget her name, but she just played the older
Mona. Was it Mona?
Mona.
No. I don't know. Anyway.
She's in the record store.
Yeah.
She answers the phone. Okay, the phone rings at one point.
Tracks. What do you want?
Tracks. What do you want? You know what I immediately think of? Ghostbusters. What do you want?
Ooh.
Did you ever make that connection?
No.
I was like, I wonder what. That's just how does that?
And it was after Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was 84. I want to say that Pretty in Pink was late 85, early 86.
Okay, so how wild is that? A little. Maybe it was just a little thing she did.
Her accent lends it to that.
Yeah.
Just like, that
But-
Brooklyn kind of like, yeah, what do you want?
Like
Why
I'm
don't you-
answering the phone. I'm going to do this thing that I did in another.
Tracks, what do
Love
you
it.
want?
So-
Oh, yeah, that's and the thing is that whole film became a thing because between you and me, I think John Hughes had a huge inappropriate that he would never do anything about crush on Molly Ringwald
Well,
and just wrote for her.
Yeah, he was definitely his muse. I mean, they've said that. Like she's said that in
Oh,
no
yeah.
uncertain terms.
I
There was
mean-
nothing inappropriate.
No, nothing inappropriate, but it's like, he's probably early 30s and she's a teenager,
Right.
And it's just like I can write for her because let's face it, I mean, that's the source of my love of red hair. I mean, seriously, there's some pictures of Molly Ringwald from from Pretty in Pink. Oh, you see her in Fresh Horses with a long curly hair.
I don't remember that.
Just that's it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm over. But she was talking with John Hughes and just said, "Hey, I love the song by the Psychedelic Furs, Pretty in Pink. Write me something about that." And he did it.
He did it.
And the Psychedelic Furs, which I believe had all but broken up at that point, came back together to record a new version of it. And the movie and the song was such a success.
Brought him back.
They came back for Heartbreak Beat, I think, and
Yeah.
it was a big successful album. And John Hughes, very well, he knew the music.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that he did, he brought. I mean, Simple Minds would be nowhere as big as they became
Right.
without Don't You Forget About Me.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they were doing okay, but they went to the next fucking level with that song. But I digress. So, yes, Breakfast Club.
Without
Definite culty. Pretty much all the classic, the only one that I wouldn't say is really classic, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, it has its own thing, though.
And She's Having a Baby. No, not really.
No.
And
Even
definitely
Home Alone.
not. Well, no, he just wrote that. He didn't direct it.
Oh, okay.
I'm only counting ones he wrote and directed.
Got it.
Curly Sue, which was like his last.
Right.
No.
No.
And probably on the border Weird Science. Yes, kind of, but
I'm saying yes on Weird Science.
you're saying Weird Science?
Without
Okay.
a doubt.
I mean, 16 Candles, Ferris, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, and all right, Weird Science. Not what's Some Kind of Wonderful, which was basically a rehashing of Pretty in Pink where they twist the gender roles, and it was very derivative, and I did not really care for it.
There are people who really do love that one too.
It depends on what you saw first, though. If your first introduction to John Hughes was Some Kind of Wonderful, then you went back,
Right.
Then
Okay.
that kind of thing. So that's Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Hello, cult classic of the nth degree,
Without a doubt.
and probably I'm going to say it. That is Tim Burton's best film. I'm sorry, it is. I mean, unless you can think of something else, don't say Edward Scissorhands. I know it's a wonderful, magic little film. Ed Wood's really good.
That's close, but it's not as good. You're absolutely right.
It's just, that, and that was the first thing that, I believe that was the first pairing of Danny Elfman and Tim Burton.
Yeah, I think so.
And the soundtrack is legendary.
Genius,
I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. Did you see the sequel to it?
No, Big Top Pee-wee?
Yeah,
not so.
Oh, it was
not so good.
wrong.
I have not watched the new one, the Pee-wee's.
I have.
Okay,
it's basically it is to Pee-wee's Big Adventure what Force Awakens is to A New Hope.
okay,
There are a lot of similarities,
right.
But it's its own thing and stands, and it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have that quirky magic.
Yeah.
But they brought back. Remember? What's her name? The French girl at the diner.
Fifi or whatever it was.
Yeah, tell me about your big butt.
Yeah.
She shows up in the new one as a different character.
Nice.
I like little throwbacks like that. So, and I guess probably last but certainly not least, we go out on a dark note. Angel Heart.
Okay.
Now, are you familiar with that?
Oh
at
yeah.
all?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Robert De Niro and Mickey
Lisa
Rourke
Bonet
and naked Lisa Bonet.
Yep.
This is what got kicked her out of the Cosby's good graces. Which, now that we know what we know about Cosby, like really, you're going to be all pure when you're basically raping women?
Yeah.
And she, okay.
Yeah.
And that one, that's a nice dark one because maybe my sense of my inquisitiveness hadn't quite developed yet. So when I watched that, I was still in high school. The reveal at the end was a big fucking surprise to me.
Yeah.
And of course, watching it now, it's like,
Yeah, you had to
Mr. Seifier, like, really? Louis Seifier, I'm like, come on. But that's a dark one. And I guess as an honorable mention, Gods and Monsters.
Yeah.
That is just...
I need to watch that again. I think I've only seen it
Ian McKellen's
once.
best work that I can... I can't think of anything else he's done that moved me and affected me as much. I mean, yes, he was great as Gandalf, but that's a whole nother kind of film.
Right.
Gods and Monsters is... Frank Whale. The guy that directed the Frankenstein, I think the first two before they went off the road, did all this other stuff. And he's a gay man living in Hollywood with his very strict Christian housekeeper who knows very well that he's gay and chides him about it, but loves him and forgives him anyway. And it's about his relationship with the guy that trims the hedges.
Brendan Fraser, right?
Right, Brendan Fraser, which, again, probably the only film that he's ever done that I think,
That fantastic.
I mean, the first Mummy film was, like, fun, but not like, wow, Brendan Fraser was great in that film.
He's not a great actor in those
right,
movies. It's
just,
fun.
Yeah, it's just like...
And those are fun.
Yeah, it was a fun film, and he happened to be in it, and he didn't fuck it up, so that's it. But in this, he actually turned in a really decent performance. It was very nuanced. Yeah. And, so there we go with that. And, of course, would be remiss if I didn't mention the ultimate cult film of all time, Frozen. Yeah.
Okay.
Frozen. Have you heard what they're going to do in the sequel?
No.
In the sequel, Elsa is going to...
Medication time. Medication time.
We ran out of time. I will tell you next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Micah Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Beni Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the offices of Howard, and Fine. You on the water skis, you two girls! Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast was sponsored by Deep Shag Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Check us out on dadsgarageradio.net. Listen, watch on YouTube. Listen on SoundCloud. Stream us on Stitcher. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ.
Audio Primate.